Before we begin tonight, I want to say that I know this channel is for narcissistic abuse awareness and recovery, and the following topics are going to be of a sensitive nature. If you are unhealed from abuse, you probably should not watch this show. It will be triggering to anyone who has been through harassment, abuse, stalking. And also this program is not intended for anyone under the age of 18. I will give you a moment to turn off this stream. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Rogue Entertainment, where we're taking a little bit more of a serious turn in the near future. If you have seen the last several shows, you know this. We are going to be going after the narcs, the psychopaths, the liars, the manipulators, the gaslighters at the top. It is time. It is time to go after the ones who cause the real trouble, the draconians, those who attack, use, abuse, rape, destroy people, and that trickles down from the top, from politics, from entertainments, down into society, where mental illnesses are propagated, celebrated. We're going to take a more serious tone on this because it's what's needed. So without further ado, let's get started.
You know what I fucking love? When people can't keep my name out of their shit-filled mouths. Whether it's good shit or bad shit or just straight up horse shit. If you're fucking wasting your breath talking about me, I'm already winning, motherfucker. I'm living rent-free in that tiny-ass brain of yours, and I know it's driving you batshit crazy. Keep talking shit. Hell, at this point, you might as well get my name tattooed on your fucking forehead since you're so fucking obsessed. It's fucking hilarious how much time you spend talking shit when your own life is a flaming dumpster of regrets and bad decisions. You really think your lame-ass shit-talking is bringing me down? Surprise, motherfucker, the joke's on you. All you're doing is making me look like even more of a badass while you're stuck being the bitter fucking sidekick loser in your own pathetic story. So keep running that sewer hole of yours, keep obsessing over what I'm doing, and keep proving that I'm living in your head rent-free. You're basically my #1 fan, even if you're too fucking stupid to realize it. Keep fucking shit up and spread chaos like a boss. You know what I fucking love? When people can't keep... You know what... Running back through the mid-morning light, there's a burden in my heart. We're burning from the time
them.
So far away, we wait for the day, for the light storms are wasted and gone. We feel the pain of a lifetime lost in 1,000 days. Through the fire and the flames we carry on.
Before I bring on my awesome panel, I just want to say shame, Scott. Shame for you always being late. You're always running late. Even on Sundays, you're always running late. I want to say thank you to Sean. Sean, I needed that. And I really needed it, what you sent me. Thank you so much for everything. Got your letter. Got your letter up on the wall. And you got my text. I'm glad you got my text, so I don't need to say anything further. Just thank you so much for lending your strength, my brother. And hail to my fellow survivors and thrivers from narcissistic abuse. Hail, brother. Let me bring up my panel. First with me is the sexy, the versatile Ryan Roger Anthe. You're muted. There you go.
The creator who keeps this show on the air when Walton is battling all sorts of demons. But it's great to be here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. We only did one pilot, and it was nowhere near as serious as this show is going to be. I don't usually recommend people not watch a show, but given the seriousness, do pay heed to what Stephen said earlier in today's show, right at the start. And I think this show and future shows like it will be living proof that I can talk about serious topics without going absolutely insane like I do covering popular culture, because that can drive you crazy. But it's great to be here. Stephen, let's highlight the problem, find solutions, and be the change that we want to see.
Absolutely, Ryan. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you being here. Guys, Mortal Coil was supposed to be here today, but he is running into some issues. And there will be no aluminum spork afterwards. Scott's got strep throat. He just can't stream tonight. And I think Tina's fallen down. So wish her well. Hope that she's doing all right. Next up is my the one, the only, the amazingly growing. I mean, the girth on this man, Tony Stark.
Hey! Where's Tony Danza? Who's the boss? Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, brother? How are you doing?
Living the dream, dreaming to live, hopefully not to wake up to die.
Oh, well, good for you.
And you wanted this to be a serious show, Stephen.
We'll be
bad.
We're gonna start it off a little fun tonight. Now, I was gonna talk about this one video, but turned out to be fake news. So we're not gonna do that. Instead, we're gonna laugh at Kamala Harris and we're gonna laugh with Donald Trump. That's what we're gonna do. That's how we're gonna start this off. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Yeah, we know, Tina. I hope you're feeling better, sweetheart.
Gonna pray
Please
for you.
get better. Absolutely.
Pay for your sin, which is education.
Yeah. Okay. What's up, Keely Chow? Hail to you. Good to see you. What's up, Crime? Good to see you. So happy you're here. What's up, Estep? What you doing, brother? Good to see you. Yeah, just keep it rolling, bro. Keep it rolling. Parrot Head's out in the chat. What's going on, Parrot Head? And of course, Sean's out there. Thank you so much for that package. Dude, that meant a lot to me. It is so like, well, you know, there's different phases that you go through. Sean knows this. He's a survivor of narcissistic abuse, and that's what this channel is really built on, with the exception of this show. And, you know, it takes a lot to come back from an abusive relationship with somebody who will do anything, absolutely anything, frame any fact in any way, shape, or form that they can in order to distort a narrative, make you look bad. We'll stalk you. We'll call you from 5 different phone numbers. I have proof of that. And stalk you endlessly, try to destroy your reputation, all because you said, no, I don't want to date you anymore.
I can't
Sean
even
understands that.
I can't even afford 5 phones. Never mind call someone from 5 phones.
Ooh, well, they got burner phones, Ryan, and then they use other people's phones, and then they usually these type of psychotic people have built-in networks. They have built-in networks of people that are already there, ready to smear campaign and destroy. But Sean's been through that, and he's a survivor. And thank you so much, dude. I needed that love at that point in time. And speaking of survivors, from Dragonstorm Rogue, Scott Clark is on the panel. What's up, Scotty?
Hi, Steven. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Tony.
Ears. My ears.
That was a good
What's
intro.
going on, buddy? How's everything going with your Narc Abuse channel? How's everything working out, man? I haven't talked to you in about a month. You've been off doing your own thing.
Doing my own thing. Yeah. I haven't really been working on that channel, honestly.
Oh.
Yeah?
No.
You're at that point. Oh, you're at that point now.
My bigger channel is what my focus is on that. The last live stream I did was 7 hours long. I mean, I hang out over there. you know how it is having multiple channels. Sometimes you kind of like, should I do this? Should I do that?
No, I get it. I have a Mystic channel that I have to get working on, and I actually got tarot cards and I got stuff for doing that, and I still haven't just found the time to sit down and do it.
There's only so much energy. There's only so much energy.
Crystals. I'm rubbing my crystals right now.
I rub my crystal.
Yeah.
You
The
like?
videotapes, you know.
Why are you abusing those poor VHSs?
Look at that. We've got an audio. We've got. You could look at this. It's all about tape, man. It's all about tape.
Yep. I don't actually use videotapes as videotapes. In fact, they're the foundation for my desk. I'm using the spare ones I have now to hold up a coaster and a cup.
That's right. Also, if you find your chair wobbling, you just slide one under that shorter leg.
Or in my case, 15. But there you go. Yeah. Nice to see CJ. Yep.
What's up, CJ? CJ, the link's in Rogue Chat. Are you in Rogue Chat? I don't even know if he is. Oh, I'm sorry. Give me a moment. I'll send that out to you. So, guys, before we get into the first thing, we're going to cover a video turned out to be fake news. Shout out to Black Angus Reviews for pointing that out for me. Thank you, brother. Hail Trans Fat. So we're going to cover a little bit of Trump and Harris. Now, before we begin, let's see, Ryan, what is your opinion on the current American presidential race?
Well, we've already had the Stalingrad moment, folks. World War II historians will get the reference. The first debate was the Stalingrad moment. The interview with Brett Baer was the Kursk moment, the Battle of Kursk. I'm just waiting for Kamala's Battle of Berlin, so to speak. But when it comes to the political realm, doesn't matter where you are, folks. There are no good guys. There's just least worse options, especially in the realm where it's the most narcissistic and the most dangerous that often win, or cheat to win, for lack of a better term. But comparing the two candidates, folks, I have been for the Orange Man since 2015, since I was 16 years old, because I'm sick and tired of the profession that is politics, just like I'm sick and tired of the profession that is journalism. In this day and age, those professions should not exist, because let's face it, folks, whether you're a saint, a sinner, the greatest guy on earth, or a piece of shit, evil being incarnate, anyone can be a politician and anyone can be a journalist. So that's one of the reasons why I am in favor of the Orange Man, and just the way cackling Kamala, Camel Toe Harris, as I like to call her, got in is just
Harris.
It's shameful. It's deplorable, to use a point term. And given the fact that one of the members of the Trump team practically destroyed Camel Toe's 2020 effort, just goes to show that one member of Trump's team is more talented than the VP. I'm sure the rest of them are as well. So I'm going to cede ground now. I'm going to cede it to Scott because he's a great guy and I want to make a good first impression. So, Scott, what do you make of this whole situation?
I agree 100%. I mean, Kamala is she's just part of the deep state. She's a low IQ, narcissistic psychopath. The way that she will flip from a huge Joker smile and cackle ha 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 to if you press her on anything, she'll get all like, ugh. And she's just a psychopath. She's a complete psychopath. Absolutely. And her emotions are totally dysregulated. Which is why she laughs constantly. She'll laugh at her own self. She always wants to keep it laughing, which makes her look like it's just like a narcissist. In public, they have to look good, right? But if you press them on anything, the demon will come out. Or if you try to hold them accountable for anything, which is that started to come out with Brett Baer. She's a very dangerous person, and we are like in the last 2 weeks now I personally think that the stuff that's going on in Israel and Iran and Hezbollah, all that is related, and what they're going to do, because they're not going to win the election. Kamala represents. She's the head. She's the pick for the deep state. So when I say her, I'm talking about the deep state. I'm talking about the satanic New World Order. I'm talking about the Illuminati. I'm talking about the 13 bloodlines. They put her out there because they have to have diversity. They need a woman. They need a person of color. That's what they white man bad, right? So that's what they chose to try to beat Trump, and she can't. She's losing in every poll. She's going down, right? Trump is going up, and he's going to win the election, but they can't have that. And of course, they don't play by any rules. So what are they going to do? They're going to take their proxies over into the Middle East, and they're going to start World War III. Yeah.
What does Tony and his cat think?
Well, the cat is singing her song, being completely oblivious.
Vote Trump. I don't want Haitians to eat me. Vote Trump.
Vote Trump, yes. This is the long end of it, or short end of the long end of it. What a moxymoron that is. Shits and giggles Harris, or shiggles Harris. She shits herself and giggles about it. But you got to understand, when somebody is put in a position like that they have to laugh constantly.
Yep.
That is a sign of a bad actor. That's as bad as wiggling your eyebrows while doing a take, right? You're wagging your eyebrows.
Or waving your non-existent hair.
Yeah. You over-emote.
Right.
Trying to put on an act. And she's a politician, not an actor. So, of course, she sucks at it. And so, the writing's on the wall. People can't, the left can't aim. Thank God. Right? Okay. And now, Trump's going to go all the way to the top. And they have the wartime presidents can extend. That's like a wartime president is, capable of like lengthening their term by default, simply because we're at war.
Well, you need a war and you need a president, and we don't have either of those right now.
No. Hold on. The band's lazy today. Second. There you go.
I say this as a guy further away from the U.S. than Ian Miles Chong, but at least I tell you I'm British. He doesn't tell you he's Malaysian, so the disclaimer right there.
Go ahead and give him that one too, guys. Thank you.
I would like to add by saying personally, from my own personal perspective, the opposition, the establishment, whether it's in entertainment or in the political realm, I've always found that if they were too stupid, they would have already lost, and if they were too evil, we'd all already be dead. So it's a unique blend of both, folks. And I personally think, what would I do in their situation? I'd put Camel Toe and Waltz the Horsefucker as jobbers. They get beat in this MAGA unity coalition, which is, in my view, a jack of all trades and a master of none. We get 4 years of that, which hopefully will be successful. Then the Demon Rats have 4 years to find another Obama. Maybe it'll just be like an Obama. He comes in 2026, razzles everyone, and then wins the primary in 28, just like Obama did in 06 and then in 08. while in 4 years' time you'll have a deeply divided Republican Party between rhino demons and the MAGA forever types who will rip each other to pieces unless Trump actually names a successor. Hopefully he does. And from that, I think you'd be in a prime position from a demon rat perspective to have 8 years of this new Obama archetype. Not literally his husband, but a new Obama archetype who sweeps into power just like Obama did in 2008. They may even say, instead of hope and change, it's change and hope, baby. They just switch it.
With stutter, a smile, and a Mr. Senator.
Now bring on another lunatic, Stephen. I'll use my psychic power.
Absolutely will. Before I do, I wanted to mention that you said that like if they were too evil, they would get rid of everybody. Yeah. The thing is, there's a difference between like a mass murderer or genocidal type and narcissistic types, and that is that narcissistic types need supply. They need people to trick and triangulate and use and abuse and suckle funds from and get to adulate them and to fake them out. So that is why they don't want World War III necessarily, but they absolutely do want to disseminate bad information, to propagate mental illnesses, celebrate them, as I said earlier. You know, this is why we see a lot of the confusion in the population that we do today. But leading into that, I want to bring on for the second week in a row, CJH Entertainment is joining the panel. CJ, from your Canadian perspective, what do you think of the current situation in the U.S. election?
As long as you don't end up like
First of all, you're too quiet.
Let's crank up the mic a little bit.
Come on, Corbin Dallas, a little more energy.
Give me a second.
I got it.
And Ryan, while you're at it, since we're all using the same kind of, I noticed that you might want to take that top gain and just dial it up just a teeny little bit, right on the
It's very annoying.
I've done shows with Steven where my mic was way too low, and nobody told me.
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember being on a show a few weeks ago, and they said turn it down. I think it was just to shut me up. But in all seriousness, thank you, my good man. I'll just raise that. Can we hear you now, CJ?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Bit louder.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just you.
I turned it up.
Good.
Let me fix.
It's all right.
My,
it's all right.
My mic. It's
all right. I got your volume up.
Good.
Go ahead, man.
Good. Oh, I see. Now
there
I fixed it. There we go.
All right. So, what do you think about the U.S. election, CJ?
Now he's muted. Oh, there we go.
As long as you don't end up like Canada, where censorship is a big thing, you should probably be good, I think.
Well, we'll find out. All right, let's take a look at something.
Oh no.
We're absolutely. So this is a woman who's talking about an instance that happened at a Kamala rally. She was at the Trump rally down the street, and someone said Jesus is Lord. And as y'all know, I'm not Christian, right? But I stand with my Christian brothers and sisters. He said Jesus is Lord, and Kamala said you're in the wrong place. They mentioned a God. They mentioned
wrong rally.
A wrong rally, yeah. So let's take a look at this.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Some guy in the crowd shouted, "Jesus is Lord," and Kamala said, "I think you're at the wrong rally." And then she said, "Try the smaller one down the street." Everyone laughed and cheered. But I was at that rally. There were almost 7,000 people at it. Today they said there were 2,500. Nobody waiting. Open spaces. I wanted everyone who's a believer to hear that for themselves.
Again, we're not going to be...
Now, before I begin, I would like to, for all of my, especially, because I'm going to ask Scotty about this first. We all know that projection is a big thing with narcissists. So let's listen to Kamala's opening statements in this clip.
Themselves.
Again, we're not going to be gaslighted on this. Let's remember, Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court. with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
What a pretentious, stuck-up, vile vulture.
I thought Scott was supposed to speak first.
Oh, Tony couldn't hold it in. Well, Tony, go ahead, please.
God. Fucking vulture. And then she just laughs it off.
Of course.
Yeah, what got me was like at the beginning she said gaslighting. We're not going to gaslight. Now I'm going to gaslight you about Trump's intention with putting conservative judges in.
Well, I do have to. The reason why I was applauding, sorry to interrupt you, Tony, and I'm sure we'll get to Scott ASAP, is like, yes, he did put 3 Supreme Court justices in. Why? Because 3 of them ended up dead of natural causes. And it's politics, lady. Art of the possible. You do as much as you can get away with in regards to your own cause, while obviously, because it's politics, feathering your own nest. Even if you are a saint, folks, you are going to do that. Sorry to say it, but the truth is reality-based. So I don't think there's anything inaccurate in what she's saying, but because of the political tribalism, she's going to use that to further her case to her own electorate. It's not so much that she's being a lying bitch, but it's all about narrative control.
It's about narrative, exactly, because narcissistic people take a grain of truth and frame it in such a way as to make the other person the villain. Scott, what do you think of these comments?
Yeah, I saw that this morning on. I was watching like Fox and Friends in the morning, and they covered this. They also covered another speech that she did yesterday, where she started screaming from a podium that Donald Trump will never stand behind the seal of the United States, the United States seal that's on the podium, and she just sounded like a dictator. Like she's losing it because she knows that she's out of control. But as far as this comment here, Jesus is Lord. Oh, you're at the wrong rally. She just showed who she really is right there. That's the mask coming off. She just alienated, as though nobody in that crowd has any affiliation with believing, the history of the Bible, of who Jesus Christ is or may possibly be, and the faith of hundreds, thousands of people. She literally just had no concern whatsoever in that statement coming. That's like the demon inside. We know that this is a demonic presence that's inside of these narcissists. That's literally like the spirit of Antichrist right there. Basically saying, it's devaluing those 3 words, Jesus is Lord. Instead of, all she had to do was just like either ignore it and just keep going as though, people say stuff in the crowd all the time. But no, she had to address that and she had to attack it. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because
it triggered her demon.
Yep.
The demon spirit inside of her. Yeah.
When you're on stage, people say, people are saying stuff all the time. You ignore most of it, but she had to, she had to get a dig in at that one. And, that right there is now that's a soundbite, that just killed her. That just killed her.
Tony, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
She is talking as if she is winning this thing. And she has already got the attitude of compartmentalizing an entire demographic of people under the guise of trying to unify everybody.
Yeah.
That is, in essence, the antithesis of unifying all Americans. When you are in politics, a true, not a true politician, but somebody who should be, dutiful to their civic duty, should be in the interest of all Americans. And that has been, in essence, completely lost and has been for at least a century. It's not all Americans. It's people with this interest, people with that interest. People that require equity because equity's sake. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting what she just did. I'm a Christian. And to hear those words come out of her mouth has really pissed me off.
Well, it alienates you.
She could have just ignored it. She could have just played. She could have, if she really wanted to, she could have just ignored it, let it go in one ear and out the other, and continue talking about whatever wackadoo policy she's shitting her britches with, okay? But instead, she took an abrupt pause, did a double take, stared in the general direction of that person, and said, "You are at the wrong rally." Took time out of her speech to attack that person and everybody that person represents, to compartmentalize them and to throw them out.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking disgusting.
And then she sat there and just soaked up the energy.
Yeah. Thriving off of it. Fucking vulture.
Yes, sir.
Energy vampire.
And it's now, as a lot of you know, I am not Christian, but I stand with my Christian brothers and sisters. I stand with anyone who believes in God, in source, who believes in morality and being and a connection with God. Frankly, from my perspective, it's a little more eclectic than others, and I see all faces. I see all names. We're all connected. Any good, any decent God. I'm not talking about the ones that tell you to sacrifice people, eat babies, and shit like that. But when I see someone like this get triggered by a mention of source, by the divine, by light, and immediately become triggered, her fragile ego was triggered, and she had to respond, and she needed the adulation of the flying monkeys in that crowd to support her narrative, to support her smear campaign against light, against source, against God. And that is the triggering of the demon spirit. Guys, you got to stay aware of people who do things like this. Again, we go back to her saying, I'm not going to gaslight. Then she takes a grain of truth. Trump put in three conservative judges, and then she went on to frame it in such a way as to make her base become more active. We all know that they love killing babies. Mm-hmm. We all know they love killing unborn babies.
Yep,
it's what it is. Now, I myself, I do believe I am pro-choice, but that is not for birth control, in my opinion. Cases of incest, rape, like when the mother's life is in danger, those are cases when I believe that action can be taken, and it should only be taken before a certain point, in my opinion. But these people, they think that it's like taking a birth control. They think it's like going and grabbing a morning after pill from CVS. That's how they treat it.
Vending machines, coat hangers, folks.
Right, and it's disgusting. It's the destruction of life. That's murder. That is murder.
From a British perspective and from a European perspective, in regards to abortion as a topic, like a political topic of the day in most countries, it's not really that much of a, I really don't like that, Stephen, and I do it on my own show. I am not above anyone in regards to things. But in Europe, it's nowhere near as contentious a topic, because there is a place for life and there is a place for choice. So there's a happy medium in regards to the limitations, which I think are, for the most part, stricter when compared to the contemporaries in the US. But it's nowhere near a potent topic, because we don't have a faction that wants complete pro-life, and we also don't have a faction that wants, complete pro-choice, doing kids in a few inches before they pop out, that sort of thing. And I think that point of contention in the US is a lot more hyper, because you've got more extreme factions on both ends. But I can absolutely agree with everyone's assessment. She really did not like that statement being made. If I was in her shoes, I'd say absolutely, because of course there are Christian Democrats. Of course. Christian Democrats, Christian Republicans. I mean, there's no demographic, no matter its source, that's 100% one way in terms of a political affiliation. I mean, more groups are inclined to agree with one side over the other, but she could have said, absolutely, yes, Christ is king, Jesus is Lord, Wakanda is forever, if she wanted to be a bit funny, you know, to play on the pop culture element. But there was a clear reaction there. And I think it's indicative of the past few weeks where the honeymoon period is over. People have separated the wheat with the chaff in regards to this woman as a presidential candidate. And more people are like, nah, especially since Trump is trying, and I think succeeding, and I'm very surprised by that. He's succeeding at building what can only be described as a unity coalition. I mean, a nastier way of putting it would be a uniparty. But you could argue that coalition is bringing in elements, former Democrats as well as more libertarian-minded people, combining them with Republicans and with nationalists, because I do separate the two together to create this kind of coalition. I don't think that coalition will last long term, but if it lasts enough for one presidential term, then what wonders could be made, especially with Elon on the team, RFK Jr. on the team, Vivek, the Hindu Vindaloo on the team, as well as Tulsi Gabbard as well. I mean, we haven't had that kind of mix and match in an administration for a very, very long time.
You know, they keep going on about diversity, and diversity is naturally happening around them.
Excuse me.
They want
real quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
They want to be exclusive when everybody else is being included in the antithesis of their exclusion. They talk about unity, and they talk about you know, equality for all. No, equity for some. And people are tired of it, quite frankly.
Yeah. Real quick, Bad Take Bojan, who isn't feeling well, but thank you for being here in the chat, sweetie. Appreciate that. She says, I am also pro-choice, but prefer the morning after pill rather than the medical procedure. I made a virgin to 23 because I hold sex as sacred and feared pregnancy before I was ready. That's a real woman right there.
Yeah.
That's a real woman right there. Good. Thank you, Tina. Let's see. Monitor, I just want to get to some of these comments too. Monitor says, I think the level of abuse depends on how long it's been going on. You were sort of marked by them. It is an inevitable chain reaction. At the end of the day, when you understand the science, the spiritual aspect, the narcissist, you should be able to make it out in one piece. You never want to go back there. Some people don't, Monster. The truth of it, and we're going to cover a couple of those things today, Monster, excuse me. We're going to talk about P. Diddy later on, and that some people do not make it out, and some people are irreparably changed. Some people are irreparably damaged, like Allie Carter, a survivor of trafficking. And not just the psychopathic sexual abuse, the trafficking that happens to a lot of these children around the world. That is another big problem by the psychos and narcissists that are running our countries and our institutions that allow these things, and also law enforcement that protect them. But they're irreparably changed, and some of them never make it out. That's why it's so very important, I feel, to begin covering these more overall topics each week on Rogue Entertainment, because it is a part of a system that's being created to destroy us, and it has many different facets. And if I'm going to talk about narc abuse, I'm going all in. Annalie writes this, Trump is protected by our Father Jesus Christ. It is so easy to trigger these demons to manifest and show themselves in these narcissists. People have been blind or in total denial not to see it. Scott, would you like to touch on that?
People have to be blind or in total denial not to see it. Yeah, well, Trump is protected by our Father Jesus Christ. It's so easy to trigger the demons to manifest and show themselves in these narcissistic. I'm not really sure.
I think I could answer it off the top of my head. When you have been born and bred into a system, plugged into the matrix from birth, how can you see the problems within such a system if you're born and bred into it. That's why some of the earliest folks, and you want to go back a long way, we might as well. The earliest folks who were first awakened to the empire of lies, first thing that happened to them usually was they were institutionalized. And I think one of the greatest double-edged swords in Western civilization was unleashing the asylums, because on one hand you had all the crazies and all the troublemakers getting released, and they had their points of view, and some of them were credible and others were just laughed at until the end of days. But if you look at it within my lifetime, I'm 25 years old. Between 1999 to 2024, a lot has changed. Some for the better, honestly, a lot for the worse. But what we have seen is gradually, over 25 years, the empire of lies in politics, in popular culture, in the way of the world has been slowly collapsing, because the existing system was built, in all honesty, for an age without free access to information. And now that free access to information has been unleashed, it's like operating in the 21st century with systems of the 20th century. It's not going to work. The system we're in is past its sell-by date, and that's why everything is collapsing around us. Now, what we've got to try and do as people is do our best to muddle our way through. But a lot of opportunists out there, both inside and outside the system, are willing to gobble people up for their own ends. That's why it's so important to highlight the problem, find solutions through highlighting the problem, gathering like-minded people together, and then slowly but surely being the change that you want to see. And that's why, as someone who specializes in content creation, separating the wheat from the chaff, seeing where creators go, getting different perspectives, I think that's very important. Usually doesn't get much viewership, which is great. I can stay under the radar and no one can, pot shots at me, literally or figuratively. And from that, we can learn what does well, what does not do well, and we can make sure that this century is the century where there's a new era that's hopefully more peaceful and more prosperous. Fingers crossed.
Well said. Well said. This next little piece I want to play is something very interesting, and it's not someone I normally care to even talk about.
Oh.
Louis Farrakhan. Let's take a look at this.
Oh.
Because of Trump's way, he is an anomaly.
Is there a way to turn the volume up of that?
No president.
God, no.
Usually I don't like black people speaking, but Farrakhan is an exception. Strange that, isn't it?
Yeah, Farrakhan endorsed Trump. He said that. He said that the system that creates laws for his people, he's speaking about African Americans, and then uses them to cripple the black communities. In my opinion, from the outside, these are all Americans, guys. And I look at it like this: if you're raised in America, if you were born here, you're raised here, you're part of this. You're my brother. You're American.
You're American. Exactly.
I don't believe in the tribalistic separation of everything. African Americans are Americans. They're my fellow Americans. And I have to say, looking at his statements about that, he's not that far off. He's really not. And then he goes on to talk about the gaslighters in the media. And he goes on to talk about how the FBI harasses people and has historically black leaders and taken them from us. It's odd to me. So here we have, although it's another version of the divine, another name for the divine, someone who worships Allah, another person of God speaking up against the system, the corrupt system that has been in place for several decades and is promoting Donald Trump.
And it's from a different perspective, and we need to understand this, folks. Same ideas from different perspectives. Now, if you look at the recent history of struggles between different groups in the U.S., those struggles are as a result of the same cause, but from different perspectives. And in Europe and Africa especially, if you didn't look after your own people, you'd get done in by the other tribes. That's why tribalism was such a thing in Europe and Africa especially. Less so in America because the tribal system got wiped out. Let's not forget that, folks. Whether it was by the sword or by the achoo, they got wiped out for the most part.
Love you, Ryan. You're so reality-based.
That's why, Walton, I can understand your perspective of not looking at it from a identitarian perspective, but they do. Because if they, in Farrakhan's case, lack nationalism with a mix of Islam, if they don't look out for each other, then no one's going to look out for them. And that's the norm throughout civilization. So he's highlighting the problem from his own perspective and that of his community, which is alien to us, but that's the perspective differences. But he's highlighting the same problems from a different perspective. Now, the key is to align the perspectives to the same course. That's the difficulty. Because let's face it, folks, when you don't look like someone, you don't usually trust them. It's built into our nature.
Yeah.
It's intrinsic, yes.
And that's why you've got to be diplomatic. You've got to build trust, and trust takes time, which we're running out of, and not patience, experience. And considering Farrakhan's experience, 7-8 decades alive, America has certainly changed a lot, but it's through that experience that he has his points of view. So it's good to see more people doing this. It's just aligning them together. That's the difficulty. That's the key, and it takes time, experience, and trust, all of which we're running out of. That's the biggest problem.
Anyone else have any comments? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the puppets too much. And we're not looking at the puppet masters.
It's kind of hard if you're watching a show, CJ. It's hard to see behind the curtain. I don't have heat vision.
Well, just you need to focus on what's behind the curtain in order to control, everything else. Essentially,
the curtain's always moving though, and so the Wizard of Oz, the guy with the leaders, is always on the move. It's very difficult to really pinpoint the guy controlling the big green head in front of you.
Well, we were pretty close at it. I think Klaus Schwab is definitely behind most of it.
You see, the problem with our establishment, folks, and this is going to sound a bit confusing. Think of a puppet controlling a puppet, which is controlled by another puppet, which is controlled by a puppet master. I know visually that sounds crazy because, all the fucking stuff would be difficult, but that's what we're facing. We're facing layers upon layers, and that is why, from my perspective, it's very important to follow the 3 steps to victory, to highlight the problem, to find the solution, to be the change you want to see, and to understand that the people are the puppets. It's the ideas that are the ultimate enemy, and said ideas can infect people, and or say you're infected, you can be cured from it, from the ideological possession, and then potentially be infected again. And then you've got to consider all the people in play, all the variables. And some people think Walton's an angel. Other people think he's a fucking devil. And then you've got to understand perspectives and points of view. That's why this struggle is so difficult, folks, because when you really try to think about it, it is like needle in a haystack while blindfolded in a maze. That's how difficult and technical it can be.
And the way that you get through that is to observe actions.
Exactly.
Not words, not what people say, not what the story is. You have to observe someone's actions, who they are, how they act, because there are so many liars out there. And we see this in politics. We know there are a bunch of liars. That lies can only survive when there is an echo chamber around it. Beware of any group, person, institution that creates an echo chamber. This is why the mainstream media is used as it is. It is an echo chamber of flying monkeys that is used to disseminate false information and to smear campaign others in order to propagate their lies. So always be wary of any person who has to gather up others and has to have them reflect back what's being said, what they are saying, because that person is the problem, not the one that they're talking about. And this is something that I have noticed ever since. Like I said, I didn't vote for Trump in his first run in 2016. I didn't vote for him, but what I saw in the following years was the entire world system, every corrupt person, every institute just freak out, and they were all regurgitating the same narratives about it. And that's when I knew this guy must be right. He must be onto something. If every corrupt person in the world is freaking out, if every corrupt government, every news organization, every reporter, everyone is freaking out. And the reason is they want an echo chamber of this. This is the echo chamber, guys. This is the echo chamber of the progressive left.
Hey, how are y'all doing? All right. My name is Maxine Kirkpatrick. I am a born and bred Michigander, a fellow on the Michigan One campaign, and president of Students for Harris Walz at Wayne State University.
Did she steal that teeth from a corpse or something?
Listen, if that head doesn't scream mental fucking illness to anybody, I don't know what to tell you.
I always use.
I never knew that Scrappy the dummy from Goosebumps got work in politics, guys.
I don't understand that reference. I'm 25. I'm going to use a more recent reference. Mass Effect, if any of you have played that game trilogy, wonderful. There's something called Reaper indoctrination, folks. The Reapers subtly influence you and inevitably drive you mad and to destroy yourself and destroy those around you. This is a clear case of Reaper indoctrination. You can see it. They do it to themselves as a form of self-humiliation as well as mutilation. It's like an airborne version of the Ring of Power, Lord of the Rings. Lots of pop culture references. But that's how our opposition operates. Yes, that thing has been infected. Hopefully it can be cured. The problem is the indoctrination is very hard to cure, to fix. And even if you do somehow achieve it, they could be infected again. That's why I made the point of, perspectives and ideas. Because whether you like it or not, folks, communist ideas have stood the test of time because they really do resonate. I don't know how old Scott is. I dare say 40s, maybe early 50s. But in the 1970s, half the world was under the hammer and sickle. Half the world was communist. In fact, about 65% of the world's population was communist, if you add populations. So we've been in dire straits in the past. The problem is, unlike then, the infection is here and we can't seem to scrub it. Because it's not really in the politics nearly as much as it is in the actual culture, and especially the pop culture, which thing. You have to understand, folks, and I know this is going to sound very red flaggy, so do bear with me. This isn't a person. This is an indoctrinated agent, especially the ones that cut bits of themselves off and then change. This thing is an agent of the system, like an Agent Smith, as it were, in the Matrix. And it's spreading like a disease.
Mr. Anderson, welcome back. Oh, man, so glad to be here.
I know, and it's visually jarring because it's designed to be. It's a form of propaganda to scare you into submission, but it's built on weaponized weakness, so you can't fight against it.
Well said, Ryan. Well said.
Also, I'm not religious, but I value it. Reason robbed me of my faith. There we go.
Scotty, what do you have to say?
Yeah, could you make my screen full screen? I want to read something here.
Absolutely.
Paul writes this to Timothy, and he says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection," that means gay, truce breakers, false accusers, that means narcissists, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. This is basically narcissism right here.
Oh yeah, incontinent, trannies.
Yep, right there. Traitors. How many of us have been betrayed by a narcissist? Heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. That's go no contact. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. And that is, that's what you're looking at when it comes to, showing those types of people, like that woman on the podium there. She's just like mental disorder, delusional.
That ain't Kamala Harris. That is straight up. It's a pod person.
Yeah, that's 2 Timothy 3. Yep. And I think that's just what we're dealing with. It's like the longer that humanity keeps going forward, it's not getting better. It's getting worse.
Absolutely.
It's turning to this.
Amen.
Well said, brother. Well said.
Unfortunately, Stephen, it's at the hour mark, and folks, because of my schedule, I can only be here for a solid hour. But it was great to be on, Stephen. It was great to see Scott for the first time. No.
You don't like it, but your head is so sexy.
Humility, and being grounded. That's the way to be. Be all high and mighty, and you'll create projects and get millions or hundreds of thousands, and then never make the project. Wink, wink, nod, nod. In regards to me, folks, you can check me out over at Ryan Roger Athe, host and founder of Reality Base. But stay here. Watch this show. I'm sure you will enjoy it. I'm going to be on Hypnotic Saturday Night Hypnosis in just over an hour. The special guest will be Grums, who is equally loved and hated in equal measure. To some, he's making games great again. To others, he's the Ethan Van Sciver of gaming. It's up to you to decide which is which. So on that note, thank you for having me on, gentlemen, and I shall finish by saying, Wakanda forever, the greatest country black people ever invented. Bye for now.
Thanks, Ryan.
So wait, what?
Moving on, I want to show this short clip. And get you guys, see what you guys think about it.
Is that new? She's still wearing a mask?
Some people still do. Some people are very scared of the coof.
If somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike, because that makes sure that that person eats. That makes sure that that person has clothes. That's reparations. That is reparations. Anything they want to take it, because these businesses have insurance. They're going to get their money back. My people aren't getting anything.
So what do you think? Is it okay to steal? Is it okay to steal from businesses? Is it okay? Is there an excuse? Is that whoopee? No, Beth. I don't think that's whoopee. that's a whoopee.
That's Cobra bystander.
It's well, this might be from this might be from a year ago. I saw this. I just caught this clip when I was looking for clips on Twitter and thought to myself, well, even if it's not recent, let's be reminded that there was a time when this country was so whipped up, when there was so much propaganda, there was so much gaslighting, there was so much shaming and blame shifting going on in our media, that it was perfectly acceptable to many in our media for a certain segment of the population to just overrun a store and just sack it and take whatever they want because reparations.
I can answer that. Yeah, go ahead and make me full screen again. Can I read this?
Sure, buddy. Sure, no problem.
Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor rivalers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God. There you go. That's just how I would answer that.
Thank you, brother.
I mean, there are lines, you know, a thief is a thief is a thief. That's not reparations. That's somebody who built a business, and this psychopath, you know, wants to try to make it to normalize the destruction of people's way of life.
Well, they're already normalizing small scale petty theft by not putting police to work in California if the target of the theft is less than like $800.
Right.
Yeah.
They are already normalizing this behavior.
Yeah, and who loses the $800? The person who's trying to do a normal business, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, then that goes into the insurance, and that raises insurance rates, and that raises prices for everyone.
Exactly.
So, I mean, in actuality, we all pay for it.
To quote Ryan earlier about how there are puppets that are being puppeted by puppets that are being puppeted by ideas, it is a puppet pyramid scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody benefits in a pyramid scheme besides the idea at the top. We all suffer regardless of where we are in the blockchain of the crap that's going on. Suffering leads to suffering.
Yes. Well said, Tony. Yes, man. And it's while everybody's shifting blame and trying to keep you distracted with one person's the abuser is the victim is the abuser, right is wrong, wrong is right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're being gaslit by a media constantly 24/7. I mean, as Ryan was saying earlier, how do you know who? How do you know who is who?
Right.
It's difficult. This is the nature of lying. It's the nature of gaslighting, confabulation. You step into a room and you single out a person and you get close to them, and then you begin to whisper in their ear, and then and then eventually you say something that will create conflict. Then there's a conflict happening that initial person is in control of, and then before you know it, everybody in the room is in conflict, and that one person, that one liar, they didn't do anything. This is the nature of what the media does in your living room, and it is the nature of what a politician does when they're standing up before a crowd and gaslighting people. Be very careful. Watch how people move. Watch what people do. What are their actions as opposed to their words? And if you held to that standard, look at every politician, no matter where you are in the world. What do they say when they come up, when they're trying to get into office? And then what do they actually do? And what is the fallout of what they actually do? So before we move forward, I wanted to cover the P Diddy. I want to cover a little bit of Allie Carter and then go into P Diddy. Let's have some fun. Let's have a little bit of fun. Let's listen to Donald Trump.
Oh, he did so good.
Oh, this is a good one. I want to hear. Okay,
and also, I was going to bring this up
ahead.
earlier. Is that Kamala just completely bailed on this because we were talking about, you know, she needs a teleprompter. She's just a puppet. She cannot stand on her own 2 feet. And Trump wasn't allowed to use a teleprompter. He had to just, you know, do his thing. And she bailed because she couldn't hang. She couldn't hang with these people. She's just
narcissists aren't that smart. I mean, there's some cerebral narcs out there. They're really good at lying. They're really good at confabulation. But when it comes to bravery, standing up against someone, cowards.
Right.
They're the first ones to hide behind a screen. They're the first ones to send third parties or sock puppet or fake accounts acting as if they're different people to confabulate you. They're not. They will always use the excuse. Narcissistic people will always use the excuse. No, I'm not going to talk to them. Because they don't want to have a real talk conversation. No, I don't want to be on the same panel or be in the same room with them because they can't stand on their lies. They cannot stand to be confronted.
Yep.
Unless they are in an echo chamber.
And here's the other thing. The tradition of this dinner is that you mock your opponents and you got to be able to swallow it and handle it.
Right.
And
roast.
It's a roast. Narcissists can't take being roasted. They can't handle the mockery. She would have fallen apart, so she bailed.
She would have fallen apart. She would have freaked out like she did when someone yelled out, "Jesus is Lord."
Yep.
Wouldn't have been able to handle it. So let's listen to this. This is pretty fucking funny.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods. Then I met Tim Walz. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. A major issue in this race is childcare, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Keep him away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't it look glum? It looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
That's the best one, dude.
See, Tina here says his roasting skills are pretty good for a politician. You got to remember, Donald Trump isn't a politician. He's private sector that went into this very late into his life. He has free, independent thoughts. He's not indoctrinated at a young age through elite families going, hey, you got to say this, and you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. No, he swings low, man. He just swings low. That's Absolutely. That's why he's going to win the election again. And he's going to do his best to try and make the dollar worth something again. And it blows my mind that people have already, like, there's so many people out there, not you, Tina, I know you know, but like I talk to some of these kids half my age, and they're all about this, that, and the other with, Shiggles Harris and stuff, and it's just an old grumpy politician. I says, do you know who that guy is? That guy is somebody who came back from bankruptcy 7 times. Now, I don't know about you. But this country's been fucking bankrupt for a long-ass time. And if there's anybody that's experienced enough to get out of bankruptcy, it's that man.
He'll pull us out. Let's make America great again. He's got a plan. He's got the whole thing set up already. We just have to get there.
Yeah. A little common sense, man, ain't so common anymore.
It ain't so common, and the reason that the reason that the progressives went after educational institutions, the reason they went after elementary to high school, and college is because you gaslight them when they're young. You frame the world in a certain way, they'll actually believe it. And those young people, they don't remember the difference that happened between from 16, 17, 18, and 19, pre-coof, the manufactured. The
bat bug.
And that was that our gas prices went down. Our bills went down. People were getting paid more. The economy was doing well. China was made to pay their fair share. It wasn't one way anymore, which is why the other countries freaked out because they were getting over money.
People were spending money. The only way this economy works is if money changes hands.
Mm-hmm.
Money has to be spent.
It has to be, and if you don't have it, I don't know about y'all, but my food bill's insane. All my bills are insane, and we're not getting paid anymore for this greed inflation, the 30% greed inflation that happened.
No,
look, like I said, I'm kind of independent. I'm in the middle. I believe in the uniparty. I don't trust either side. I think they just toss back every so often, but it has been It has been a consistent campaign from the progressive left, which is why I don't support them anymore. Since Obama, at least I could tell, second term, that we get robbed, that our young people are confused, are indoctrinated, that we have seen a rise in mental illness and the celebration of mental illness. And all of these illnesses and all of these conditions and all of these bad actors that we see, they're all narcissistic. They're all narcissistic, whether they're psychopaths or not. And this is something that we need to stand up against. That we need to, people with the basic morality. It don't matter who you pray to, how you pray, if you pray. It doesn't matter what political persuasion you are, what you identify as, what part of culture you're from. It's time for the tribe of Earth, human beings, to come together and stand with one another and decide, are we going to continue to be abused by the draconian overlords that keep placing these politicians in positions of power, that have the ability to shut down the counting stations and close all the windows and kick out the official people, then all of a sudden there's a new president in the morning? We deal with all of the people that traffic children. This is all a part of the same scheme, and it's all about abusing people, sustaining supply, negative supply. It is all about gaslighting people into believing their narratives, framing facts in such a way that the people who are being abused or robbed or stolen from or sequestered, they're the actual problem, not the ones that are doing it, not the abusers, not the manipulators, the psychopaths, and the narcissistic types.
It boggles
the mind.
It boggles the mind.
In Canada, we have our own version of Trump, Pierre Poilievre, and this is a video that I'm sharing right here of a reporter trying to take a jab at him, and he's just not biting. Literally.
They struggle to actually find young people to do work, and of course housing is a problem and healthcare is a problem. As was mentioned earlier, the hospital here gets closed quite frequently. Nothing to do with vaccinations, I don't believe. It's a doctor issue. It's more a shortage of doctors. So what do you do in the meantime? I mean, you've got lots of plans for building houses, etc. But in the sort of immediate spectrum, what do you do to
create a Blue Seal test to quickly license the 20,000 immigrant doctors we have in Canada? Many of them are prevented from ever working, and they give up on getting a job as a doctor, and they end up taking low-wage work for the rest of their lives. I'm proposing a simple Blue Seal testing standard that would apply right across Canada. Take the test, get the license, get to work within 60 days.
Okay, and I mean that obviously you're going to encounter some opposition from the College of Medicine, etc., across the provinces. Yeah, so how do you deal with that issue?
We push forward. There's not easy street leads to a dead end. Best hard roads lead to the best destinations. We're no longer going to accept that this or that gatekeeping bureaucracy stands in the way of obvious common sense solutions. It is unacceptable that 20,000 doctors can't work in Canada when we have a massive shortage. And when people come to me and say, yeah, but this or that clerk or bureaucracy is not going to be happy, that's life.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of vested interests and bureaucracies that are going to be very unhappy when I'm Prime Minister.
Okay. On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, this and that, right wing. I mean, it's that type of ideological stuff.
I never really talk about left or right.
Anyways, I don't
really believe in that.
Okay, a lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but I don't know who, but
You're the one who asked the question, so you must know somebody.
Okay, I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways, the point of this question is, I mean, why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given
Framing.
Not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump's book, but
what are you
also
talking about? What page? What page?
So, like, did you guys see how that reporter was trying to bring up he was gaslighting? I don't know how else to put that. Like, did you guys see that? And he asked him for a reference, and he asked him for when he was lied about. And this man said, no. Give me an example. That reporter had no idea what to do. These people are so full of themselves, they really think their bullshit is the truth.
And he was looking down the whole time. He didn't have the strength to look him in the eye.
He mentioned 2 words that triggered this reporter. And again, it's a very rare concept. 2 words, folks. Common sense.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he said common sense, that guy was like, buzzword.
Yeah.
Common
sense. Handle it. They can't do it. They can't handle it. This is why it's important to stand up. That's why it's important to confront those who will bullshit like outwardly. If they're brave enough to stand in your face and try and bullshit you, then call them out on it. I mean, I got to give that bullshitter some credit because he's a reporter. He actually did try and frame things in a certain light, and he was called out on it. A lot of liars don't even want to talk to the people they lie about. That was beautiful. Before we move, go ahead, CJ. You brought that up. So.
Yeah. So if you want Canada to become Canada again, I would recommend voting for Pierre Poilievre next year.
Thank you, CJ. Greatly appreciate you. So, real quick, I always want to put a little bit of Ali in here. There's a video I want to share where she's talking some real shit.
Time, it's not just the elite that we are talking about. The elite are the top of the food chain, but everybody needs to focus on the people in their own backyard. I'm talking about people that people ignored in your families, those uncles, those aunties that people are like, don't sit too close to them, something's wrong. Those things in your family that people covered up, like what happened when I was younger. There was a lot of people covering things up. They don't want to deal with what's in their backyard, because if you deal with that, then you got to deal with everything that happened to you. A lot of people cover that stuff up because they don't want to touch it. Everything down the middle, the grave diggers, the trash men, the post office, the teachers in the schools, the lawyers, the doctors, things. This does not just touch the elite. There are so many people in between. Okay. And everybody always wants to look at the top. No one looks at the bottom. My pimp had people in their back pocket. I'm talking about the police, my social workers, my pimps, numerous of them. One of my pimps, I found out everything that was going on because I was nosy. It's me.
It's really hard to hear this, Steven. It's hard to follow.
To know what made me so crazy about the man that I was with. And at 15 years old, I thought I was just going to cuss him out. I thought I was just going to throw a fit. I thought I was going to throw his shit back at him and walk out the door. No, that is not what happened. He was taking a shower. I went through his wallet. I found all kinds of IDs with different names on them. Okay, that's when I noticed, oh, there's something else going on here. This is not just, I met this man and I shouldn't be with him. I met this man and he's older than me. This is more than that. And by the time that I figured that out, he kicked my ass. He damn near broke my ribs because I went through his wallet and found all those IDs. And by that time, that's when jobs got worse. Before then, I was going with him to small parties, doing what he told me to do. I was young, I was naive, and I was looking for an out, being in foster care. I thought this man was going to marry me and my life was going to be happily ever after because, hey, he's just older than me and I need somebody who is going to take care of me because I'd have nothing. And I better start figuring some stuff out now. So I got with him and not knowing everything that was going on, then I figured some stuff out. So I'm telling you right now, the pimps that people are like, just tell on your pimp. I tried. Riverside County Sheriff knows I tried. They came and when I was chased down the street, and there's a police report to this, but I was chased down the street, and the Riverside County Police Department looked my pimp in the face, and I said, hey, that man that has my name tattooed on his arm is a pimp, and he's trying to kill me. I had kids upstairs. I was just coming home from dropping my nieces and nephews off, and the police officer responded with, I'm a police officer. He's not gonna, what do you think he's gonna do? He's not gonna do anything. Yet you're looking him in the face, dead in the eyes, and I'm telling you this man is evil, and there's so much that you could do as a police officer, and they let him go. He has the police in his back pocket. When I ran away, when I dipped from Child Protective Services custody, private investigators and FBI knocked on my mom's door and bothered her and a lot of family members that I loved and cared about just to see where I was. But nothing ever came from that because they were fake cops or they were just corrupt cops. Freemason Brotherhood. All right. So those who are like, hey, your pimp just needs to go down, it's not that easy. Or else we wouldn't be in decades of issues right now.
You have to understand that this is a bigger problem than just the elites, the people at the top, people that are trafficking kids through tunnels. This is a bigger problem than the Epsteins and the Diddys. This exists everywhere. You cannot have an organization of trafficking without a structure to support it. Not just a bunch of rich people.
At the street level.
Exactly. Exactly. These are all allegations at this point from Allie Carter. These are her recanting her alleged experiences. If you guys are interested in more, go to alliesarmy.com. She has been outspoken about trafficking for many years. And some of the things that she has said is coming to light. She was at P Diddy parties. She was a party favor there. She has many stories regarding this. Please look her up, Allie Carter. She suffers from dissociative personality disorder, which is called multiple personality disorder, used to be. And that comes from the severe abuse that she went through by psychos who were trafficking her. She claims to have been trafficked through the state. Child Protective Services did not protect her. These are her allegations. These are her claims. She was trafficked in Hollywood, in the music industry, among the elite, the rich, and low-level traffickers, street-level traffickers. Guys, you see anything strange going on, if you missing child case, somebody in your neighborhood goes missing, anything like that, be a part of the search, be a part of that investigation yourself, because police may not get involved. Some could be involved. This is a case.
Cops there because the bad cops get rid of them.
Yeah.
Just a quick question to ask you with your Lodonis side. Why does it take abuse to wake up?
Because well, first off, there are
comfort breeds contentment.
A lot of people, people who have been abused in childhood, some of them disassociate completely from that abuse, and they create narratives that they had a good life, or that, you know, they were brought up in a system to look away from the abuse, to make excuses for it, to shame themselves. They learn very early on to separate the reality of what is going on as opposed to the world they need to create in order to survive. And this can manifest itself in many different types of disorders. I mean, and so you have those people who don't want to recognize it. You have other people who never went through anything like that. You never went through any kind of abuse when they were growing up. And so they don't want to believe that evil exists. They know evil exists. They've heard stories. They see, you know, they've seen read books, and they've seen articles, and they know the famous historical figures that are, You know, the genocidal ones, Hitler, Pol Pot, those types. So they know evil exists. But they don't really understand that the demon spirit, the spiritual warfare that we are in right now, that actually exists. That a person sitting at your table or in your live stream or in your chat group or in your that person's a manipulative, lying, evil piece of shit that thrives off of creating problems between you and others. That thrives off of triangulation and creating issues. And is so practiced at lying that they can make a saint look like a sinner. And you don't want to realize that. So it takes going through an event with someone or someones that are highly narcissistic, psychopathic, terroristic, lying, very deceptive types, very abusive types. It takes an event like that to shake you into reality. And even more so to those of us who have been through childhood abuse, sexual assault, because we've learned to disassociate from that past. It wasn't until I was 37 years old that one day my head cracked open and I realized, oh shit, I was raped as a kid. That is the power of the mind and the power of not recognizing that you can literally confabulate yourself. You can literally create separation in your conscious mind from what actually took place in the past or events that actually took place. Now, narcissism, when we talk about narcissism, they create the shell, the narcissistic shell itself, which is one of the various functions that can take place when you separate yourself from the reality of your upbringing in order to protect yourself. That particular shell, which can be used by any for cluster B, that derives from escaping the turmoil inside by creating a false face, which is then generated by torturing people, by abusing people, by being fake, and then making them nuts because you feel nuts, lying to them, to stir them up and get the emotional reactivity required in order to get the supply to feed the grandiose false self that they have created. And that is a separation of reality. That narcissist is lying. They are going after someone. They are taking a grain of truth and framing it in such a way as to make the person that they are going after look like the actual abuser. It is, and they willfully do this as well as subconsciously do this. That is not limited to narcissistic personalities. So the reason that it takes abuse in order for someone to wake up, so to speak, is because sometimes it takes going through a hardship of being knocked down and destroyed and having to be forced to rebuild yourself if you haven't offed yourself in order for you to see the matrix for what it is. That's why, Siege.
Comfort breeds contentment.
Yes. Oh, and then if you're comfortable, the last thing you want to do is be shook out of your comfort zone. That's the last damn thing you want.
Some people don't.
I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone and come on camera, I guess. Oh, wait. There we go.
Okay, there you go, buddy.
Yeah.
Stark, you were about to say something. I'm sorry, brother.
It's just, people that have the luxury of being comfortable, they don't go out of their way to look into perspectives of those who don't have that luxury. It's just not, that's also part of human nature. And the reality of the situation is only apparent upon you when you are the victim of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody can be on the outside looking in. I'm on the outside looking in. But I'm not going to claim that I understand anybody's pain that they had went through, because I did not feel that pain. I did not see that pain. I did not witness or experience that pain. But to the fact that you're here now and stronger than ever, I can attest that sometimes pain like this is necessary to make the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
And that's a necessary evil, which is also something that is very taboo. The words necessary evil. Because in an ideal situation, evil should never be necessary. Ever.
But
and
it helps. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And it is only our intentions with when we talk about stuff like this is to let people know that if you're aware of the evil, you can extinguish the evil, you can beat the evil, and you can hopefully make a dent in society to lead it down a better path. I honestly, I mean, evil will never truly be extinguished. That's the reason why we have to look to God. That's why God is here for us for that. But we can make a dent and we can make a change. And as something as small as making somebody smile after having a bad day, that could turn around and motivate them to take control of their life if they're in a situation that you're completely ignorant of. Period.
Well said, Tony. Well said, man. Yeah, it really does. It pays to be kind. It really does. And when you're going back to what you were saying about necessary evil, oddly enough, I am appreciative for every instance that I've been. Scott will be back. I'm appreciative of every instance where I've had to push through pain, where I have been targeted by evil or someone or maliciousness. You know, maybe not pure evil, but just maliciousness, malicious behavior. Most recently, there are positives to getting through a situation where you have been treated unfairly. You discover your strength. You discover what you can endure. You learn from it when you endure things, untruths, targeted harassment campaigns, things like that. Now, of course, there's something different to be said for psychopathic abuse. I coach survivors of abuse now, and I have heard some stories from people who have been targeted for abuse by psychopaths that is just unbelievable. Like, I don't know how they're still alive. I don't know how they continued on, but they did. They found that strength, that reservoir, and they're going to be forever changed. But in my opinion, they're going to be forever stronger by it. In a perfect world, there shouldn't be any evil. We should all treat each other fairly. We should all be genuine, true to ourselves. Because genuine, I mean, and I'm not pointing the finger at people and going, you should be genuine, you're a bad person. When I say that, what I mean is you should be comfortable with who you are. You should be confident and comfortable and relaxed with who you are and being able to express yourself as you truly are. And that by in and of itself would make a person be kind. Because you're not affected by external. You don't need external validation. You're not triggered by external events or other people. You don't look at people and get triggered when you see something in them that you don't like about yourself, or in any way, and then that triggers like some type of toxic reaction. When I say everyone should be authentic, it's you should be comfortable with who you are. Face your fears, overcome them. Don't shy away from them.
Bravery is not being scared. Bravery is being utterly terrified and going in anyway.
Yes, my brother. Yes, Tony. So Scotty be back. His devices are disconnected. I don't know where you're at, Scott, but come back. Oh, there he is.
Twilight Zone.
Back yet? I don't know. Hi, Scotty.
How's the Twilight Zone?
I was trying to just turn off the camera so that my little, how a picture will show up instead, and it just disconnected everything. I don't know.
All right. Well, we're gonna play a little bit of this. Let's see if it's loud enough for everyone. Let's see. Let me know.
Diddy was hit with another lawsuit that claims he admitted to taking out Tupac. This Diddy lawsuit was filed by a woman named Ashley Parham, and she said that she was SA'd after she made claims that she thought that Diddy was the one that offed Tupac. We're going to go ahead and deep dive everything in this lawsuit, and I'm just going to say now, big trigger warning for any...
Yeah, honest to God, guys, this is a big trigger warning. If anybody here has been SA'd in their lives, this is going to go in deep. And as far as the newest allegation against P Diddy,
Gonna be cut.
What's
yeah, it's going to be
SA
a deep one.
What's SA mean?
Sexual assault, raping. All right, so this is it. Well, we got to talk about the psychopaths. So let's talk about the psychopaths.
For anybody that can't handle anything about SA, this is very graphic and very horrifying. This woman isn't just suing Diddy, she's also suing Diddy's head of staff, Christina Quorum, and she also is suing a man named Shane Pierce, John Doe 1 through 3, Anna Jane Doe. This woman claims that back in 2018, she met the defendant Shane at a bar and he was on a FaceTime call with Diddy trying to impress people that he knew somebody famous. And she said while Diddy was on this FaceTime call, she wasn't impressed because she thought that he took out Tupac. She claims that Diddy was visible on this FaceTime call and he was with his sons Christian and Quincy. And after she made the statement about Tupac, Diddy told her she will pay for that statement. Month goes by, and then on March 23rd, 2018, the defendant Shane invited her over to his house. This woman claims that she went over to Shane's house and he left the door of his apartment partially opened, and he said that the door was ajar because there was an issue that it couldn't close completely. And then after a while, Diddy entered the home in a ready-to-party manner.
I just want to mention that when a narcissistic personality is called out for what they do, they plan revenge and then execute it. I know, it's happened to me a few times.
Entered this house with his bodyguard, a woman that was later identified as Christina Quorum, another woman who was in her early 30s who has yet to be identified, another man who, upon information and belief, is a friend of defendant Shane and Diddy's driver, who is Doe 3, who remained outside in his vehicle during the duration of the plaintiff's assault. She said that she believes that Shane set her up to be assaulted by Diddy after she made the statements about Tupac, because upon Diddy's arrival, she immediately began to be antagonized, stating she thought she would never see him in person or pay for her statements about Tupac during the video call. She said that she was in shock. She never believed she would ever see or meet Diddy in real life, let alone in the small apartment rented by Shane. She said she was sitting on Shane's bed and Diddy began coming towards her with a knife held in the right side of his hand and threatened.
Guys, I'm dead serious out there. If you're watching this, if you can't handle this type of topic, please stop watching. All right, this is psychopathic.
It's terrible.
To give her a glass glow smile. The woman alleged this is when Christina Quorum would tell Diddy it's not a good idea to give her a glass glow smile because that would mess up potential clients that they could sell her to. Christina Quorum made a threat that she could ship her anywhere in the world and she would never see her family or anyone she ever knew again. He claims that Shane then began to partially undress her, and then Diddy removed the remainder of her clothing, removing the knife from her face, and then retrieved a bottle of liquid from a large fanny pack.
We're actually going to cover something after this about that, because that baby oil had stuff in it. And we're going to talk about that afterwards.
That's just fucking vile.
It is, and this is what was going on for decades, Stark. And many actors and musicians never said a word. Nobody came forward. How is someone like that so protected?
Hush money.
Yeah. And threats.
Or they have their own hats in the same investment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
She said that Diddy squirted this all over her body and she was scared because she wasn't sure what this chemical was, and then she later figured out that it was some type of oil or lubricant. The woman claims that Diddy told Christina Quorum to insert what looked like a syringe inside this woman, and then she did, and then she told Diddy that she was unable to use the IUD because it had prematurely been released from its packaging. She said Diddy became upset by this and took the syringe and tried inserting it himself until Christina Quorum and Diddy began to argue because Christina Quorum was telling him it wasn't going to work. That Diddy picked up a TV remote that was sitting next to her and violently abused her with it. She claims that Diddy told her that her life was in his hands and that he could take her if he wanted to and nobody would ever see her again. She began.
And anybody who's thinking themselves at this moment, that's got to be bullshit. It's not. I coach people who have been through psychopathic abuse. This is how psychopaths work. This is how they operate. This is how they assault people. This is believable to me.
I hope they bury that alien-looking motherfucker.
And everyone else that protected him.
Began crying hysterically, and this is when Diddy would tell Shane to turn her over on her stomach, and then she would be essayed multiple times by multiple different men. Claimed that while this was happening, Diddy was sitting at a chair after he was done with his time doing this to her, and he began pleasuring himself while recording other people essaying her. He claimed during this whole assault that Diddy kept saying that he owned her now, and then when everything was done, she was unable to move or control her bodily functions. After this essay was over, Christina Quorum came to examine her and see if she needed any IV fluids. She then alleged that Christina Quorum pulled out a medicine bottle and took a pill from this medicine bottle and gave it to Diddy, and Diddy shoved it down her throat. Claims that they would all leave and go out of the room into the backyard, and she just laid in this bedroom until she was finally able to regain her bodily functions. She got up and began looking for her clothes, her purse, her cell phone, and everything, but she could find none of it, and the only thing she could find was the t-shirt on the floor that she put on when she left the room. She said when she left the bedroom, she went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife and concealed it on the left side of her before going out into the backyard where they all were. Once Diddy saw her walking into the backyard, he said, "I'm surprised you're able to walk. I gave you enough to take out a horse." Said Diddy continued to make statements like, "Why haven't we partied together before? This was so much fun." And she looked at him and told him, "I did not enjoy the party with you, and this wasn't."
Now, immediately you see the psychopath change the narrative. This was fun. Oh no, you wanted this. You wanted this. You wanted this this to happen. I'm not a villain. I'm your hero. This is how narcissistic personalities act.
Wasn't a party that you assaulted me. Diddy looked at her and was like, "This wasn't an assault. This is consensual, and you are a S worker, and here, take some money." She said she began to get enraged and she started yelling that this was not consensual, and she said that she was going to call the police. Diddy told her that nobody would ever believe her, but if she did tell anybody, that they would harm her family. And then one of the Jane Does that were there showed a picture of his phone that looked to be outside of this woman's sister's house, and she began to be afraid. She then claims that Diddy called his mother to convince her not to report her assault, and Diddy's mother yelled at her and said, "Do not hurt my son." And she said, "I didn't hurt your son. He actually assaulted me." And Diddy's mother seemed unfazed by this statement and then told her to take the money being offered and not report this to law enforcement. And alleged that Diddy told her, "I have got away with bigger crimes than this, like offing Tupac." This defendant Doe 1 pulled a weapon on Diddy, asking him to repeat what he just said about Tupac. She claimed because all of this fighting that a neighbor came out and asked what was going on, and the Doe 1 who had the weapon pointed it at the neighbor and instructed him to go back inside and mind his business. And said that this Doe 1 turned it right back on Diddy and pointed it back at him and then fired and hit the hill behind Shane's residence. And then she said that Diddy took off, ran after Diddy in a rage from the events that just happened, and actually got him in his stomach with a weapon. She then said after that she was able to make a quick dash for the exit, and she ended up on the street and began yelling loudly for someone to call the police. She said that defendant Doe 1 had caught up with her and said that he was an undercover cop, and she said that she's still not sure if this was true or false. The neighbor that had came out previously came out again trying to figure out what was happening, and she said that she was trying to answer him, and then all of a sudden shots were fired. She fled to a car near where neighbors were taking cover, and she lost sight of the man that said that he was an undercover cop. The neighbor told her that he already contacted police, and then shortly thereafter, a sheriff from Contra Costa Sheriff Department arrived at the neighbor's home. She said that she told the sheriff what had happened, and that she's been attacked by Diddy and others, and that she didn't have her phones, purse, clothing, car keys, cell phone, or anything. She alleges that the sheriff didn't do anything and didn't even call an ambulance to help her or offer.
Isn't that insane? Like, if this is true, that officer didn't do anything or even call for an ambulance.
Just another bad cop.
Another bad cop. Right. Now, I love good cops. My good cops out there. I love y'all. But there's corruption that's protecting these people.
This is a PSA to people that want to enforce the law, that want to be good cops. Watch your back.
Watch your back. Yeah, absolutely.
Hit you. You ain't careful.
offer to take her where she needed to go, and then she would end up going back to Shane's residence. She then said 3 days later she went to her primary care doctor and asked for an HIV and STD test because she was scared that she might have contracted something after this assault. 2 weeks later, in April 2018, she still had pain and some things going on, and she ended up in the hospital from her injuries, and they did a kit on her, ultrasound and x-rays. She said she told the hospital what happened to her, and they called the Walnut Creek police. She said she told the Walnut police what happened, but she did leave out Diddy's name after she wasn't helped from the first sheriff department and after the threats that Diddy made to her. She does believe that while she was at the hospital, the Walnut police will have body camera footage of this incident and this questioning. And she also says that she believes that the Contra Costa Sheriff's Office should also have body cam footage of her being questioned and them not helping her. She's tried to get copies from both police stations, but neither one were successful. They kept ignoring her. So she's hoping now that she has legal counsel, she'll be able to get all of the documentation she needs. But y'all let me know what you guys think of this.
Ooh, man. So when a person encounters a bad cop or a paid off cop, they're not going to trust the police anymore. Just like that victim was, if this alleged victim was so scared, was so terrorized, so hurt by the diddler that she left out his name because she didn't want to bring it up again because of what happened to her. And this is how narcissistic, psychopathic people are. This is one alleged incident. I mean, can you imagine if this is true?
It's fucking
if all of
terrible.
It is, and you can see why someone would be too scared. People who go through these, now this is an extreme SA psychopathic, event that is alleged. Do not think, y'all, that this does not happen in your neighborhoods. Do not think, y'all, that there is not or may not be a narcissist or malignant narcissist, psychopath who does this type, who does these types of things, this type of manipulation, this type of coercion. These are things that happen. I know I have been targeted for several smear campaigns by many people, many toxic people who regurgitate the lies about me being a bad person because they have to protect the narrative. So don't think that those narratives don't extend in places like this and in your local, in your local population, in your local area, in your state. They do. They absolutely do. The only way that a structure like this can be maintained is by an echo chamber, a support system underneath of it. And it goes the same whether or not you're going through a smear campaign, whether or not you're being attacked, your credibility is being attacked, your reputation is being attacked, you're being harassed, you're being stalked, you're being SA'd, you are going through any type of these abuses. They all run in the same, it's like evil runs the same scripts, guys. When you talk to somebody who claims to have been through an abusive situation and they're not acting right, and they might be on drugs, or they're emotionally unregulated, and they're all over the place. The first thing that an abuser will do is point at that person and say, that's because they're unstable, they're lying.
Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're talking about. Exactly, sir.
Real time, these other survivors.
Sorry, did not mean to do that. And I wanted to touch on, where's the baby oil one? Oh, this is great.
Mahogany Draws, good to see you, brother. There do be
Mac. There be veteran rogues here. What's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Hope everything's going well over there with your team. Got a wonderful team over there on Mahogany Draws.
Oh,
good people. Absolutely. Love them. Love that crew of people over there. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for being here. I want to talk about the baby oil a little bit, so let's talk about this one.
Diddy is done. He's gone. He's up out of here. The diddler is cooked, y'all. I'm talking about he's way past done. I'm talking about he's burnt, overcooked. They didn't found out why people was acting crazy and deranged because of that baby oil. This man Diddy put hydrobutyrate inside of the baby oil bottles.
What The hell?
That they seized from his house, they tested it, and that's what they found inside.
Mutilate you.
Y'all know what that?
Are you familiar with that?
It may or may not. I will not go on to the record and say psychonaut of any and all measures, but I have dabbled in a few things.
Yeah, I've dabbled in a few things myself, Tony. Don't feel bad. You're among company, brother. It's all right.
That dude, your man is a freaky shooter. That shit he put in a bottle gives you a feeling of euphoria. It makes you get in an extra relaxed state, a talkative state. And also, it makes you want to have sex. So the victims in there thinking they about to get a motherfucking massage, and then they start feeling frisky all of a sudden. It started with the relaxation, and then Diddy, the diddler, came with his lactation. This shit crazy, fool. He had a bunch of men and women pitting on baby oil, and then they started feeling frisky, and they was doing things a little risky.
So he was literally drugging them.
He's done. Diddy is done.
He was drugging them. Allegedly. We'll see what happens when the court case comes out.
I swear they bury him.
A lot of the cases that are coming up against him, they can mention the same thing. He takes this liquid out and he sprays the victim up with it, like we just heard in the second video ago. They drugging him.
You ever see the movie Get Him to the Greek?
No.
He's essentially playing himself, essentially, in the movie.
Send me that link on X, or send that name, put it in Rogue Chat, and I want to check that out. Cotton says Epstein has specific outdoor massage spots on the island. Sounds very familiar.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know,
brother.
there's connotations and connections all over that shit.
Absolutely, man. So before we head out, I just wanted to say thank you to all you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, and let's end on. Hold on. Oh shit! I'm sorry. I really had that set up. I thought I had it set up well. I just want to end with this message, and I think that we can all identify with this.
Well, fuck-a-doodle-doo, good morning to you. I was told I'm going to HE double hockey sticks for my excessive use of the word fuck. So I rented a bus in case any of you fuckers need a ride. Although I'm normally pretty friendly. I may bite if I haven't had my fucking coffee. Just be aware. Some days I really don't know if there will be enough coffee or middle fingers to make it through the fucking day. Buckle up, trout sniffer. We have fuckery to spread.
We're just waiting for Peter Griffin to jump him.
And yeah, right. What did he think about that?
It's a fucking chicken, I swear to God.
So this scene right here in the private chat is from Get Him to the Greek, where Diddy is essentially just playing himself.
All right. Yeah, I'll check that out for next week. I need to round it out because we're at the 2-hour mark. And I did promise Parrot Head. He sent me something.
He sent you some images.
Yeah. I said, I don't understand. I don't understand what this is about.
It's the coffee.
I do not put coffee in my ass. All right. I am not. And if I did, I surely wouldn't put P Diddy baby oil all over it. I'll tell you that much. Oh, this bastard.
Did he or didn't he?
No, I don't want to hear about this anymore, Parrot Head. This is not what we do. This is not what we do. Oh, man. I love you, Parrot Head. Thank you so much. What the hell? There's another one. Jesus.
Yes. Oh, yes.
No!
Oh, yeah. The best part of waking up It's Walton's in your butt. Walton.
Oh my God.
You don't want to give a fuck, but you have coffee up your butt.
Jesus, you're echoing according to Christie from years ago, and I don't like it, Tony. So that's great, man. That's great. You guys, thank you so much for being here. I know the topics have been heavy. I try to keep a mix of light and heavy topics, but these are things that I believe we need to talk about, we need to address, because YouTube isn't slapping us the way that they used to. And I'm glad to see that. Thank you, YouTube, for not stopping us from talking about topics that need to be addressed, that should be addressed by moral, decent people fighting the good fight against the demons out there who are trying to destroy the fabric of our society and protects people that are doing horrendous things. So thank you. I appreciate YouTube. Thank you very much. So before we head out, Tony, tell them where they can find you, my good brother.
Well, you can find me over at my channel. I sing songs, I whistle tunes, I do impersonations. I usually have a video skit or a new parody song every weekend for the after party after the biggest party in Earth and the only party in Earth. Occasionally you'll see me doing some gaming. You'll see me having a discussion panel. Not as heavy as this stuff, Doc, but still pretty heavy. But if I may recommend going to Fet for Hire, if you want to share this link, I promise that this is my only venue on my YouTube bar crawl tonight. I'm trying to get him to a little closer to 1,000 subscribers. So subscribe to me, sure, but let's get Fet over that 4-digit milestone and come hang out with us there. I'm going to be hopping back on that panel until it's time to wake Alf up for the Cotton Council if they're having it tonight.
Awesome, man. Hail Trans Fat, hail the Cotton Connection.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you being here, guys. Please check out the link Tony's going to put out in the chat.
Well, it's in the chat. I don't think I am a wrench. IR wrench?
You're not a wrench. Are you a wrench? You should be a wrench. Hold on. Let me look.
IR wrench?
Yes, you are a wrench. You should be.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Next up is the CJH Entertainment. Tell me they can find you, bro.
You can find me over on X until Canada bans me. Or you can find me on YouTube on my bigger channel, which is the CJH Entertainment Plus, where I do mostly gaming, some music videos and whatnot.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Thank you to everybody who came through. Everybody watching later, please remember to hit that like button, share out the link, leave a comment, and let us know what you thought about the show. And I greatly appreciate you. Thank you to Cotton Ministries being out there. Adventures with Beth. My love to you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Appreciate you surviving this. Bad Take Tina Boach, Libby Rhodes here. I hope you feel better, sweetheart. Thank you to Mackety Draws OG Rogue coming through. Thank you much. MC Mike Does, my brother. Good to see you. And Anna, thank you very much for being here. And Parrot Head, appreciate all the memes, dude. Thank you very much. I'm glad that I remembered to show them. And I appreciate every time you send them to me. I'm sorry, I forget sometimes. Thank you to Monitor. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you to our friend Scott, who was having technical issues there toward the end. But please make sure to subscribe to every awesome person on this channel. And I greatly appreciate you very much. I am Lodonis, Ravenwolf, Dragonstorm, you see her in Sage. Hail to my fellow survivors and thrivers from narcissistic abuse. Please remember to wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other. Yet suffer no fool.
What lies beneath your feet? Sacred grounds, watered with tears of blood. Shall we begin? Shall we begin?